guys. So spring is here. You know, things are coming back. Things are coming back alive. We do have some yard work to do, like cleaning that fence behind there, but the garden is coming back alive, and it's nice to see it. We did have some damage to some of the trees, just given that, you know, the cold fronts that passed through. However, seeing them come alive, it gives us new hope, right? New year, new hope. I think one of the things that gardening has taught me is definitely patience. While there's things you can do to get fruits much faster, you probably don't want that, and you probably definitely don't want to put that in your body. You do want to wait, and it is a process, and I guess that's like most things in life, right? It's a process, and sometimes you're so close, almost ripe, and you know you can see it, you can smell it, but you're not quite there yet, and it can be frustrating at times, but all things takes time. And I mean, we're probably gonna have to cut this back. This is probably 12 feet tall. This peach tree, beautiful, tropic beauty. It just completely blew up the last growing season, so I'm sure as it warms up, and as you can see, it's coming back alive. The leaves are coming out in different areas, and more buds are emerging. But again, patience, right? These will eventually, some will drop and some will turn to fruit, and it will repeat that cycle, you know, for years. Now, again, there's things that you can do in there. We actually have peaches there, so that was pollinated, as you can see there. So the flower is getting ready to fall off, but it definitely lets you put life in perspective, right? I think sometimes we feel like we're smarter than nature and we're exempt from all the changes, but no, it's a process, you know. It's a process, but beautiful process nonetheless. So get to enjoy all stages. Here goes the loquat. It actually looks like something has been nibbling. There's a few of these with holes. Not sure if you guys can see them. There's a few of them with holes in them. Something has been eating them. There's only a few this year, but we'll take them nonetheless. Valencia orange. So many buds. Like, I'm just gonna dropped my phone. Just gonna zoom in here because it's really hard to see. I'll try to get, yep, that's probably a better. There's so many buds. And I went hard on the citrus. We have, I'll probably tally up between tangerines, grapefruits, and oranges and kumquats. We have quite a few, and the vitamin C, and you know, with everything going on in the world, this is definitely one that, especially if you're in the Florida area, that you probably need a citrus tree. There's other things that provide vitamin C, you know, like peppers and things of that sort, but orange juice, whether you like to eat the flesh or not, it's just, you know, it's overall just good. Or just eat it in a salad, you know, there's so many options, but this tree is loaded. And I know the bees actually, believe it or not, like this. It's so sweet. The smell, not sure if you ever smelt the blossoms of orange. It takes over the air. It's almost as strong as, it's almost perfumey. This is the avocado that I planted by tree. It's almost taller than me and it just keeps pushing out. I am not going to go ahead. I have several of them on the property actually. I'm not going to be grafting anything onto it. I'm going to let it grow. It's probably going to be 5 years, and I'm fine with that, right? I'm not rushing. But we want to see what it does. There's another one here, so eventually I'm probably going to have to move them. And I know avocados are probably not one. I believe it has a taproot, not sure, but I'm pretty sure I read that they're not, they're sensitive to being moved, but I'll do some more research before that. There's some cold damage, again, you know, but as you can see, the damage is done, but there's growth on the top, right? Because life keeps pushing through, all right, regardless. So those leaves will fall, and eventually there'll be almost, you know, nothing. Let me see. Yeah, besides the leaf, I don't see any major damage. So eventually the leaves will fall, and there'll really be no sign that winter was ever here. Again, one of those cases where it's, you know, like life, right? It'll heal, and the tree will move on. And this is the clementine, and I'm actually, it's hard to see, but I'm actually seeing buds. See if that can focus. So this is also blossoming as well. Oh, let me see, maybe that's, yep, those are blossoms for sure. And there's so many, more than I've seen. I think this is the second year this tree has been in the ground. So it's not very tall, and that's one of the things that I'm focused on as well. Because I have so many trees, my goal is not to have anything that's 20 feet. I would say 8 feet. There's some trees that do not like to be pruned, and I think they're alive and they do adapt, you know, if you treat them with care. But I really, in terms of wanting trees that are that would just be too much to maintain. And I'm thinking about as I get older, and sorry, there's an airplane going above us. So as I get older, let's go ahead. So yeah, don't necessarily want any trees that are 20 feet tall. So I don't want any trees that's 20 feet tall, and just thinking about as I get older and what that might look like. You know, we want it to be, and coming back to this one because there's actually so much on the back. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. And it's just pushing out so much growth. This right here is the star apple, and this too, it lost some of its leaf, but believe it or not, it's a little, it's I would say it's cold tolerant. It was the frost. Like, in fact, the first few times it had a frost or a cold front, nothing really happened to it. It's really, and as you can see, it has most of its leaves, and some are unfazed. It was the repeated cold snaps that caused it to shed its blossoms, fruits, and some of its leaves, but overall still standing. So I'm very, very, very proud of this tree. I do have 2 planted fairly close to each other, the green and the purple variety. Again, I'm planning on keeping these trees relatively small, so I'm not too concerned about how close they are, or I have a vision in mind as to what everything will look like. So moving on to our lemon tree. So it's also blossoming in multiple areas. So we've gotten so many lemons off this tree, and it's funny because we were actually picking them We're picking them so early and using them as limes. And one was actually like in an area that we could not see. I pruned it heavily, but before last year, um, one was in an area that we could not see, and because of that, it actually turned like a bright yellow. It was so beautiful. So we're definitely gonna let them get to that stage before picking them. But everything's coming alive, and I'm loving it. Like I said, spring is definitely becoming my favorite season for sure. New life, new growth, new opportunity, and not necessarily new opportunity, but to just keep continuing on. So there's a bee there. I'm gonna get out of his way. Let him do. Yep, there you go. And there's another one. Bumblebee. He's gorgeous. So this is a large tangerine tree. It's actually much taller than I am. I've had it, and I've had it for, I would say, about 5 years. And what actually happened to this tree? Sorry, everything lost its leaves, and it looks a mess on the ground. But as you can see here, that tall tangerine tree, I didn't know that trees actually grew back from below the graft line, so I did not. We had a massive tree at the bottom, and for some reason I thought it was the same tree. However, the tree at the bottom did not have any thorns, and I realized in looking at the way, just the differences in the leaves, and there was the fact that it was thornless on the bottom. I figured it was, I eventually learned it was coming from the rootstock. The plant that came from the rootstock, which is probably a sour orange, it did produce fruits quite a few times. However, this tangerine tree has not. So I have since cut that off a few months back, and there's an airplane going over again. We have a small airport not too far from us, so there's a lot of weather lessons, or there's a lot of things going on. So sorry about the noise. That being said, I'm hoping, being that the sour orange or the rootstock has been cut back, that we'll get something. And as we can get something from this, because it should be a tangerine. I'm not sure what variety, but I know it's a variety that I do not have, because as you can see, those thorns it is very thorny. So I'm almost happy that this does not grow like the others. It actually grew up so tall, like kind of like a regular tree, just because of the fact that the rootstock came up. But it also keeps it away from the kids and keep it out of the way. So at least keep it from the younger children, because it's very, very thorny. So but this particular mango tree, I've had it for the same thing happened here. So let me show you. As I said, I'm fairly new to the whole gardening. As you can see, one is the rootstock and one is what was grafted on. I'm not really sure which is which, so you know what? They're gonna grow as twins, right? They're gonna grow. We did, and this one's actually burnt really tall. So we've definitely been pruning this one back throughout the years. But we actually, about 2 years ago, we received mangoes. They were very small mangoes, and it could just be because of the fact that what's going on, the rootstock right here, the hurricane actually broke that off. We tried to clean it up as much as we could, but this one also, like, it's a mess. We need to figure out what we're doing with it in terms of cleaning it up. But I am going to keep both. The mangoes that we received 2 years ago, they were very, very sweet, almost candy-like. But it was just a few of them. It was like a handful, and that's been the only time. It is massive. Whenever we cut it back, it pushes out like tons of growth. So it is healthy. So definitely don't want to do anything to it. But in terms of variety, like I think it's probably going to take a few more years, and hopefully because of hopefully we'll have some warmer winters, and an inactive hurricane season or so we can see what, because it just seems like this tree's been through a lot. It's been through a lot between the winters and the hurricane and the storms. It's been through a lot. So more to come on. I'm gonna give it a name because it's one that's been with me for for a long time. And this is my ruby red. So let's see here. And there it goes. There's a lot of growth. Try to get it back here. So we pruned this, and in pruning it, it just pushes out new growth. This is one that does not mind being pruned at all. Again, this is one that's been with me for a very long time. I've had it since it, pretty much a Charlie Brown tree, and now it hovers over me. So, like I said, I do have a special connection with each and every one. Going through the storms and the winters and taking care of them. It's just, yep. That's my ruby red. This is another avocado that I planted from seed. And this, guys, is a red navel, and it's also waking up. And I also see some buds in here. You can see those. We have some buds. Listen. So, do that. And this is a mango tree that I planted from seed. Over there is where I have my pineapples. I actually received pineapples last year. Everything's like, again, I'll do another video once everything's all cleaned up. I feel like everything looks so rough. That is a plantain right there. So the differences that I can see between bananas and plantains: bananas tend to be a bit thicker. The plantains tend to have a little more color, like a pinkish, light brownish color, but very skinny, very skinny. Or it could just be mine. Maybe mine is malnourished, but that's the differences that I've noticed. But this is a mango tree that I've grown from seed, and it's doing pretty good. Actually, seed from, I believe that I received from Walmart, mango. So don't know the variety, but we'll see. The ones. So much growth on this red navel orange. I had to come back to it. I didn't see, like, look at that. There's so many blossoms. The bees are gonna be really busy. Alright guys, till next time.